Live from Beit Shemesh and broadcasted around the world, you are listening to the Frum Entrepreneur Podcast with your host, Nahum Kligman. Interviews and advice from Jewish entrepreneurs from around the world. Listen, learn, be Matzliach.
Welcome to episode 4 of the Frum Entrepreneur. And in today's discussion, we will be talking about business cards. Yes, business cards actually is the first impression you usually give over of your company. And I want to highlight how super important it is to have a high quality business card. And it's something that's worth investing a little bit more money in. I'd like to say that just like our eyes is the window to our soul, well, a business card is the window to your business's soul. It is the first impression. And usually when I get somebody's business card, I can pretty much tell right away how serious the company is and how serious they take their company. If you're serious about your business, if you're serious about making an impression, then you want to make sure that your business card is really top of the line, that it's something that sticks out, that it's something that shows that you take your customers seriously and that you take your business seriously. I just came back from the Parnassah Expo, New Jersey, and over a course of a couple of days, I collected about 75, 80 business cards from networking. I did a session on podcasting, and people gave me their cards from that. And overall, it was a pretty good show. So, but I went, going through all my different business cards and trying to, add them to my database or to follow up with certain people. I noticed there were just some things about people's business cards that just really irked me. And so I wanted to go through some of those mistakes I think people make. And I'd like to talk about some of the things that I like. Obviously, I'm not going to mention any names of the companies of business cards I don't like, but I will point out what I don't like about them. And then we're going to go through some of the business cards that I did like, that were given to me. But, a business card, we have such an opportunity to make a first impression. And when you meet somebody, I can't tell you how many times I've given over one of my business cards and people were just like, wow, that's really amazing. It's really cool. I tend to usually put my photo on a business card so that people will remember the name with the face. I did that I had a social network company called sportsfan.me, and I made our business cards to look like a baseball card. So it was like really cool. We had like an image of us on the front looking like the face of a baseball card. And on the back, we had our information written out, looking like the back of a baseball card. And, people loved that card. I've done other ones where the quality is just, and we'll get that in the end. I'll tell you where to get them, called Lux business cards, where the quality is just, beautiful. You could tell, that I care about my company. When I hand a card like that over to somebody, they look at it, they take it, they feel it. They're like, wow, where'd you get these? Oh, these are great. When you get comments about your business card, you're doing something right. So when was the last time, when you ask yourself, when you hand over your business card to somebody, when was the last time someone said, oh, wow, that's great. That's really cool. How'd you do this? Where'd you get this? If you're not getting that type of response, then it means you can improve your business card. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about some of the things that I like and some of the things I don't like. But I will tell you, actually, before we get to that, it's funny. I went to China a little bit more than a year and a half ago. And in China, when you give over a business card, it's not just, hey, here's my business card. You don't just throw it at somebody. There's a whole procedure I learned that you have to do. And that is that you hold your business card over in two hands. You do a little bow and you hand your business card over. They take it with two hands and then they look at the front. They look at the back. They study it. And then they make a comment about it. And then they do the same thing to you. And they'll hand you over their business card and you do the same thing. You take it, you look at it, you absorb it. And I thought it was very interesting. And it's interesting about the business culture in China. I think that's actually one of the only good things about the business culture in China, which perhaps we'll get to in another podcast about working and manufacturing in China, which can be a complete nightmare unless you know what you're doing. And even if you know what you're doing, it can still be a complete nightmare. But we'll get to that in a future podcast. But today we're talking about business cards and making a first impression. Now, people tend to think that, hey, let's just go the cheapest way. People are just throwing them out anyway. People are just, it's just something that we need a lot of, so we may as well pay a cheap price for. And I just totally disagree with that way of thinking. I think if you're giving over something to somebody and you want to make an impression, then it's something that is worth, even if they're going to throw it away, right? Even if you think they're not going to keep it. First of all, a lot of times people don't throw away my business cards because they are really cool and they do like to hold on to them. And it's an example of something that they'd like to do for themselves. But even if you know they're going to throw it away, it's that first impression that you're leaving with them, right? It just goes into the head. When you hand over your business card and they say in their mind, like, oh, wow, this is cool. This is solid. It's kind of like thinking about when you shake somebody's hand in business. If it's a very limp handshake, it doesn't make much of an impression on you. If the guy shakes your hand firm and, you can just tell who the person is. Your business card tells who your company is, what your company is about. And in today's day and age, there's no excuse to giving out a cheap business card or a business card with a lot of mistakes. And we're going to go through a few of them now. So first of all, one of the things that I saw, probably in about 30 of the business cards I got, was that there was nothing on the back of the card. Now, you're going through the process of handing over your business card to somebody, and you're only giving it half full, right? Even if you have an empty side on the back. Now, people I know may say that, hey, we're leaving space so people can, write notes on it. So first of all, someone's going to write notes, which, in giving out thousands and thousands of business cards over, 20 years, maybe it happened 20 times, 30 times that someone actually wrote a note on my business card itself. But even if you want to leave space for someone to write notes, so put a little thing on the back that says notes and draw some thin lines so people can write notes on it. Show that you care and that you thought about them. And you're not just leaving a blank space. And today, even if you, don't have more content you want to put on the back, so just put your logo nicely on the back of the card. That's something like, let me see, I'm pulling a card here. SBA Loan Group, Yankee Markowitz, right? So he's got a very nice card. He's got all this information on front. And he could have left, the card blank on the back, but he didn't. He put a beautiful logo that spans the full back of the card and just makes it look so much more professional, right? If you just looked at the card without this on the back, it just looks like a, regular business card. But with the logo done on the back, it just looks so much more professional, so much better. And there's still room to write notes on there. So if you think you're saving yourself $15 or $20 by not printing on the back, I think you're doing yourself a disservice. It's worth really, putting, and even people have put on the back, car companies that put, Tfilas Derech on the back, or you could put a calendar on the back. There's all sorts of things you could do on the back to just, not waste that space. You're making an impression on somebody, and you're going through the effort, and you're handing them the card, and you're only giving half a message. So, definitely print on two sides. Today, almost every single printer can print on two sides of a business card. If not, change your printers. And actually, at the end of the podcast, I'll give you a couple of sources. I also, in our show notes, which you can visit frumentrepreneur.com and look in the podcasts. And if you go to this podcast, you'll see in the show notes, I'll put some links of some really great business cards that you could check out. Things that'll blow your mind away. But for now, let's talk about more of the issues on the cards. So there were at least 2 cards, or 3 cards maybe, actually 4, I think, that didn't have anybody's name on it. It was just a business card, and maybe it had a phone number, had a website, but it didn't have the person's name. Now, when you're giving over a business card and you're giving it over to somebody, this is what networking is about. It's about building a relationship with a person, right? And if not having your name on the card, how do you know who to relate to? How do you, build that network? How do you build that relationship with a person that you don't know who it is? And so those cards I just throw out because there's no way to know who it is that you're talking to. So that's a mistake. I don't know why someone wouldn't want to put their name on the business card. The only thing I can think of is that if you're a company and you have, 10 different employees and you don't want to create a new business card for everyone else, so you'll just create one for everybody to just take and give out. But I think that's a mistake. You're changing from a business card, you're changing it to like a coupon or, some sort of advertisement, just for your company. And I think that's a mistake because business today is really, actually not just today, but it's always been about relationships. So if you leave your name off the card, that's just a huge mistake. Another thing I've noticed, and this is something we could probably talk about in a future podcast as well, is that people are using a Gmail address on their business cards, or Yahoo, or Hotmail, or whatever it is. Now, even though Gmail is convenient, when you put your company name in your email, use your company name in your email, it's just so much more professional. I can't even tell you how much it makes a difference in my mind when I see somebody that uses their company name email as opposed to a Gmail address. Now, today it's also very simple to integrate your company name address into Gmail. Very easy to set up. And so, you shouldn't even think twice about using your company name email. And I know it's easy to use and stuff. And I think Hillary Clinton uses her Gmail account, for her business. See what type of mistake that was for her. But if you're going to, you have a company name, you have a company website, so then don't use a Gmail address, use your professional company email address. And if you don't know how to do it, you don't know how to set it up, you could go on YouTube and do a search for how to set up your company email. You could ask a friend. There's really no excuse today to publish an email address on your business card that is not of your company name. The only time when I think it could be acceptable is if you're marketing yourself. Right? If you're not marketing a company and you're let's say a doctor, or you're even a business consultant. If you have a name for your consultancy, you got to use your consultancy email. But if you're just your own person and you're just marketing yourself, then maybe it could be okay to use a Gmail address. But otherwise, there's really no excuse not to use a professional email address today. And people think, oh, it's no big deal, but it is a big deal. All these little things leaves an impression. And it's so much more professional today to use your business name and your email address. It just shows that you took the extra time to do it right. And speaking of websites and web addresses, first of all, even if you use a free, website like Wix or Squarespace, even if you use another company to build your website, don't use their URL. Even if you get a free URL, free web address, you don't want to be, Moishy's Flowers at Wix.com. You want to get a domain name. And it's also super important. I mean, maybe we'll have to do another podcast about naming your company and choosing your name and choosing the right domain name. Maybe we'll do that in the next podcast, because that's also a super important topic, and I don't want to get too off on a tangent. But if you have a website and you list your website in your business card, and someone goes to that website and the website is not finished, or there's no even website yet, you didn't even set it up, then don't put it on your business card. And if you're going to go to a conference and hand out your business card to hundreds of people and you don't have your website set up, what are you thinking? Just either don't put your website on, order new cards just for the show that don't have, a website on there, or take, a half hour and just build a page that just has your company logo and your name and phone numbers on there. At least something. People shouldn't come to a website that's either, half finished and, we have dummy text all over the place, or that even worse, that it just doesn't show up as a website. It just shows up at like a GoDaddy hosting page or something like that. That is very unprofessional, and it could turn people off from wanting to do business with you. So today's day and age is very easy to create even a free one-page website. Very simple to do using Wix or using some other companies. I'll put a couple more in the show notes that you could check out. But there's really no excuse. Even if your full website is not ready yet, there's no excuse not to have a clean web page with your information on it. Don't put your website on there if you're going to send people to a blank place. It was a trend back a couple of years ago to put a QR code on your business card. I actually did that with one of my cards from a year and a half ago. And truth is, I can't tell you that I've ever used a QR code on a business card. I just haven't done it. And I can't even tell you I've ever seen anyone else ever do it. I think QR codes, came and, now they're gone. I don't think people really use them so much anymore. I don't think it's worth using. It takes up space on your business card. And I mean, I could be wrong here, but I've just never seen anybody scanning a business card. Because if you have the business card and you have it in your hand, right? So you could just go to the website from your phone, or you could or if you're at your computer, you could just check out the website or email the person or call the person. Like, really, why would you, to scan it? If you have a phone that scans, then you have a phone that can go to the internet, right? So if you're scanning a QR code, or if you take out your phone, you have to open up your application for scanning. Then you have to actually scan the QR code. Then you have to wait for it to load up. Or you could just type in the web address. Today I think it's become a little gimmicky, and I've seen it probably like 6 or 7 people have had it on their business cards, but I think that's a mistake. I think you're wasting good, clean space and putting something that no one's really using. Although if you are using QR codes successfully, I'd love to hear about it. Please let me know if you find that it works. If you find people come back to you and say, wow, that's awesome. You have your QR code on your card and, made it so much easier to contact you or to reach you. I just never seen that or heard that from anybody. So, you may want to rethink, even though it may show that you're, up there at the times, or, I just don't see it as something that's really all that useful anymore. Also, a must. Thank God, there was only one person that did this, but I got his business card that looked like it was printed out of his computer. Yes, there are people still today that print their business cards from their computer and manually cut it, or use a, I don't know, maybe they borrowed the paper cutter from their school. I don't know what it is, but that's also extremely unprofessional. When you have a business card that's off-centered and it's not cut right and looks like, and you could tell that it's been cut, Or maybe they still have them, paper that's pre-cut to business card size that you print it in your printer and then you could just tear along the edges. You know what I'm talking about? Don't do that. It's just, if you have a business card, it means you're trying to make money with something, even if you're a nonprofit organization. So you're trying to raise money. You're trying to make an impression. And a business card that's printed from your printer, from your home printer, does not make a very good impression. So let's please try not to do that at all, ever. I've also seen cards. There was one card specifically I was trying to write down the information from, and the font was just too hard to read. Right? People don't want to, one of the rules in business and in marketing is you don't want to make people think. You don't want them to have to read something over and over again. You want them to be able to get the message and read it clearly right away. So if you're using a fancy font, it may look cool, but ask, 10 friends to read it back to you first. See if, what they think of it. If you're using a font that's too hard to read and you're making people think, it's just going to leave a negative impression and people may just ignore it. So there's plenty of fonts. There's thousands of fonts you can use that can make you stick out and look different while still being very easy to read. Another thing I've seen on at least 3 or 4 business cards is a dark color on a dark color, meaning they'll have like a maroon card with like black writing on it. And it just, besides, being hard to read, it just doesn't look good. It's like you're hiding your information from somebody, even though you really want them to be reading it. There are some cards that got it right, and they have, blue on white or white on blue, or, even if you want to use colors and do red and, they'll have white on red or white on orange. That makes it so much more easier to read and, makes it more clear. Be careful with your colors. Even if you want to use colors, make sure that the colors match each other. And there are websites out there today. I'll try to put one in the show notes as well, where you can go see different color schemes and see what works. But you don't want to make it hard for people to read your information. I guess at the same note, like I'm looking at one card now, and it's like a maroon card with, I don't even know what color to call this, but like a lighter version of the maroon on the card, and it's just so hard to read. Also small text. You want to try to use larger text whenever possible, without looking too gaudy, I should say. But you don't want to make it so hard that the font is so small that people can't read what you're putting in there. Let's see. Lack of social media links is something else that I've seen being an issue. Now, that could be because if your target audience is a Frum audience, then, it could be that you would not want to put social media links on there. You don't want to promote your social media links. But if your target market is outside of the Frum world, then it's something, social media, again, it's for another conversation, but it's so important to your marketing efforts in today's day and age that, you really should put links on there, especially, and I haven't really seen this. I haven't gone carefully through every single business card. Maybe I'll find one that has it, but I haven't seen really any, that has your LinkedIn URL. I've seen a few that have, just like a graphic that says, hey, we're on, Facebook. I'm looking at one now from Stacy Gindy from S. Gindy Design Studio. And on the back of her card, she has, Pinterest, Facebook, LinkedIn icon, which shows that she's on there. It doesn't have the links to it. But, I think LinkedIn is definitely acceptable, at least from what I understand, for most Rabbanim to use in your marketing efforts. And, there's a lot of Rabbanim on LinkedIn. And I think you should allow people to have a URL to your LinkedIn address so that people can easily find you on LinkedIn and connect to you. So that is something I don't really see on the cards. But even if you're marketing, to everyone, you do want to have a link to your Facebook page or to your Twitter URL, your Twitter handle, I should say. Just makes so much more sense. People are spending hours on social media every single day, and you want to connect with them where they are. When you have your website, that's great, but you have to, it takes more effort for someone to have to go to your website than it is if they connect with you on social media. And it's also easier to connect and, spread your message to them and keep your name in front of people using social media. But again, social media will be a topic for another day. But as far as business cards go, if you're on a social media site such as Twitter or LinkedIn, you should have the handle or your LinkedIn name or even Skype name on your business card. One more thing I just want to point out, which is extremely unprofessional. And truth is, I don't think I saw this on anybody's card, thankfully, at this show, but I have seen it in the past, so I just want to point it out. If you change your phone number, and you'll see someone will, have a pen through their phone number and a new phone number on their card, right? Or if they change their phone number, they change their email address, they'll cross out the email address on the card and give you a new email and say, hey, our new business card's not ready yet, whatever it is. That is terrible. When you hand someone a business card, you don't want them to see a strike through on your business card. You don't want to see that you marked it up with a pen. It just takes away from the impression, and it shows that, you did not put in the effort. Again, you could get business cards today in as little as 48 hours. It means that you aren't willing to spend the $50 to get new cards with your new number, your new email address. And if you're really worried that somebody's not going to be able to contact you, so take down their contact information and follow up with them. And if you do have the wrong phone number on it and they try calling you, if it's important to them, they'll try calling you, they'll try emailing you. It just looks very unprofessional to handwrite or cross out anything on a business card, or even to, I've seen people put stickers like over a certain section of the business card with their new number. I just think that because of the low price today of what it costs to do quality business cards, I just think, it's better to put out a lower quality business card than to put out a business card with, a strike through on it. So that's something else to keep in mind. So, I think the overall message I want to relay to you is that you have a tremendous opportunity today to get your message across, to make a fantastic first impression to people. And you could really wow somebody and make them, believe in you, make them believe in your company just by handing them a tiny square piece of paper. And there is so much impact that goes into that. And you'll see, I'm going to, again, check the show notes. I'll give you links. You can see some really quality, really crazy business cards that people do that just stick out. I just want to go through a few of the business cards that I got at the show and what I thought was, really good. There was very few, to be honest, that made me, say, wow, like this is awesome. There were some very good, clean cards. Optimal Targeting, David Konigsberg has a nice, clean card, it's die cut, uses great colors, has his logo on the back, and has all the pertinent information on the front. So, I like that card. This is cute. Moshe Schindler did from Mint Media LLC. He gave out a little packet of mints, which is very cool. I like that idea a lot. It has the OK on it, kosher parv. And if you're going to call yourself Mint Media, I think, you definitely got to give out mints, right? The only thing that I don't like about it is that Pesach's in a week, so I got to throw this card out. But so you probably should have another business card that he gives out along with this. So, because people are not going to, once the mints are finished, people are not going to probably keep the card around, which it could be okay because most people throw out the business card. This will keep it around for a little while until they finish the mints and until they have a chance to follow up with you. So I think it's definitely a very good and creative idea, and definitely came in handy at a conference where you want your breath smelling fresh. So that was good. One of the cards that stood out most, was the most, I would say, unique card that I saw at the show, was by Tech Masters PCS, Mechel Thumim. I hope I got that name right. Mechel Thumim, who's the president. And he used it's like a hard plastic translucent card that just looks really cool. I would definitely say that this is one of the top 2 or 3 cards that I got at the conference. So kudos to him. You could tell that he cares about his business. You could tell that it was worth him to, put in extra expense for a card like this. And it definitely stands out to me. So I really like that. Let me go another card here. It's a company called Tsuf Publishing, Natan Feldman. Also very clean cut. I like that it's his front and back matches. There's not too much information on it, just what you really need. The website, the email, the phone number, and the name, and a clean logo. I think that was a standout card. I thought he did a good job on that. Smart Marketing, Chaim Sofer has a nice card, using both the back and the front, matching each other. Very clean. I like that card. Jeff Yeager from ZDH Consulting. That's actually, ZDH Consulting has a very, very nice card. What I like about them the most, they're probably also in the top 4 cards I got at the show. Besides the coolness on the back of the card where they show, 9 different sections, squares of things that they do. On the front, they have I can't even explain it. It has a ZDH logo in black on black, which is the front of the card. And then on top of the black on black with the logo repeating itself, then you have the color logo and the name and information. It's just you could tell that these guys are professionals. You could tell that they care about their business and they really put some effort into their card. So Jeff Yeager from ZDH Consulting, very cool card. Let's just go a couple of more just to stand out. Immediate Marketing. It's funny, the marketing guys, they got it right. If you want to find a good marketing company, if your business card does not stick out, then why would I want to use you for my marketing? So Immediate Marketing Business Consulting is fantastic. Joel Klein, beautiful card. I like that he has a quote on the back of the card, and I've seen that in a few cards where people will put like a nice quote there. When we have trust in our potential, our business dimensions expand even larger. Joel Klein, CPBC. So that's a cool card. Another cool card that stuck out was Jeremy Seth Davis, who is a content marketing director. He has a small card, like it's probably a quarter, probably like 1/3 the size of a regular business card. So it sticks out just in the fact that it's small, so it's easy to keep, easy to slip into your wallet. Sticks out as being different and is very clean. On the front of the card, he has his name, phone number, email, and his website. And on the back, he has a quote from Winston Churchill, of all people. I am certainly not one of those who need to be prodded. In fact, if anything, I am the prod. That's cool. Using a quote also shows a lot of your personality and shows about who you are. So I think this card is cool because it sticks out. It's smaller and it's different. And again, being different, sticking out, not doing what everyone else is doing is super important for your company, for who you are. Let me just do one or two more. First Choice Shipping. They had a beautiful booth also. From what I remember, everything matched and everything they handed out was all matching. They definitely, whoever did their marketing for them was great. I love their logo. David Vizel, CEO. I hope I got the name right. Vizel, Vizel. First Choice Shipping has a beautiful card, very clean and crisp on the front, and their nice logo on the back. That definitely sticks out. Let me just see one or two more. Focus Inc., Chaim Schnitzler, Director of Business Development, has a nice card. Together we make a perfect team. They use the back of the card very nicely, very clean, crisp on front. Cheskel Steiner from Imperial Residential Real Estate, also a very nice card. I don't get on back. It says Charles from Brooklyn. Not sure what that means, but the card is at least, very good quality, and they use the front and back, and the colors all look good. I would say that the website is a little hard to read on the front. Like you can't really see. They should have used a lighter color on the maroon background. But other than that, it's a nice card. And Sarah Kranz, corporate recruiter from LTC Consulting Services, has a nice card. I love their back of the card, how elegant it looks, and how it matches with the front. Very clean, very crisp. Hanan Kaufman has a very cool card. He works for a few different organizations, so he has them listed very nicely on the front of the card. Again, with just his email address, phone number in the U.S., phone number in Israel, and the websites. In the back of the card shows the logos of the different programs he's involved in. Go Inspire, Bizrael, Jerusalem Fellowships, and Israel High Tech Ventures. So that's also I like that card. And then I am going to one more or two more. Briarcliff Insurance Agency, Ellie Weiner, who's the president. Very nice card. I like what they do on the back with their logo and the different programs that they're insuring for. Auto, home, business, disability. You get the full message of what they do, what they're about, and very clean and crisp on the front. Then I'll get to my favorite card. Actually, this is my favorite card I got at the show, at the conference. And, if you know who the guy is, you'll say, hey, it makes sense that he has a cool card. His name is Joe Apfelbaum from Ajax Union. They are a marketing company. And actually, Joe was on a panel at the show, which I attended, and you could just tell that he is top of the line. His business card is beautiful. He's got a nice picture of him smiling, but not in a posed way. It shows you that he's on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+. So it has those icons on there. Company's part of the Inc. 500. If you're part of an exclusive group or exclusive club, like being part of the Inc. 500, then yeah, you definitely want to have that on your business card as well. And it gets a lot of information on there, but it keeps it very clean, very cool looking. And on the back, he has 15, 20 different pictures, all displayed in a cool way with different people that he did a selfie with. And I think that's very cool. It makes you want to look at the back. It makes you want to look at who else he does business with. I see him, I believe that's with Gary Vaynerchuk in the center of the card, which if you have a selfie with Gary Vaynerchuk, you definitely want to put that on your card. And I think he takes the show award of the best card, at least the best card that I've seen at the conference. Anyway, I hope I left you some great information. I hope that you learned a thing or two. And just a little shout out to a couple companies that I do use for my business cards. One is called Moo.com, and they have something called Lux business cards, which are very expensive. If you're ordering just 50 or 100 of them, they cost around 70 cents each. If you order 200 of them, that drops to about 60 cents each, which, you may say, hey, is expensive for a business card, but, you don't need to order 5,000 cards. If you want to make an impression on somebody, and if your business, if when you do business with somebody, you're making $500 or $1,000 off the customer, 70 cents is a small investment to make to show them you're serious about their business. So when I go with the expensive printing cards, I use the Lux brand from moo.com, MOO.com. And if I want fast, like the business card I did, which actually I'll post in the show notes, I printed up a card just for this trade show. I use U-printing. And you'll see that my business card that I gave out is really to highlight my session that I was speaking about, which is podcasting for Frummies. And you'll see that, I used a cartoon image on the front, just used my email address, try to make it very clear. I had a specific purpose I wanted to use the card for. And I think I used some pretty good colors. Anyway, we'll take a look. But I ordered them from U-Printing, which has also super fast printing, both front and back sides. You could do in square images. You could do in all sorts of things. And, U-Printing is something I've actually used a lot in the past for a lot of other things. Anyway, more on that in the show notes. And thank you for your time. And until next time.
Thank you for listening to the Frum Entrepreneur Podcast with Nahum Kligman. We hope you learned something valuable and will share this with your friends. For show notes, archives of previous episodes, and more information to help you start and grow your business, please visit our website,